Hello viewers, I'm Simon Preston and this is Reggae Boyz commentary. As you know, Theodore "TAPPA" Whitmore is the head coach of our national team for these upcoming Caribbean Cup third round matches against Suriname and Guyana respectively. But many wonders, what are some of TAPPA's high moments when he was the head coach in the past of Jamaica? I've compiled together a top 5 for TAPPA, the top 5 best moments of TAPPA, which would be the matches that he helped Jamaica do well in. So let's get right into the action, starting with number 5. That was his debut match coaching Jamaica. That was November 18th, 2007, in a 3-0 victory against El Salvador at the National Stadium. Incredible scenes it was, I tell you. Rudolph Austin scored a goal from the half line, and Ricardo Bibi Gardner scored 2 goals in that match, scored a brace in that encounter. It was after the tenure of Wendell Downswell and also Boromir Tilovic, who didn't have successful stints with the national team. As you remember, Jamaica did not even qualify for the 2007 CONCACAF Gold Cup, so things were looking bleak for Jamaica in the mid-2000s. However, in November 2007, Coach TAPPA Whitmore was given an interim post as the interim manager of the team, and as a result of that, he got 2 matches in charge of Jamaica. One, a 3-0 victory over El Salvador, and a second, 3 days later, beating Guatemala 2-0. He was the interim manager prior to Reggae Simoes coming back to his second stint for Jamaica. So that's number 5 for Theodore Whitmore, the 3-0 victory over El Salvador. We now head into number 4 now, and that involves a very important match, you could say, for Jamaica. It came when Theodore Whitmore broke a record, when he became the first coach to win the Caribbean Cup as player and as head coach. The first man to do so. And that came in Martinique in 2010 when Jamaica won the 2010 Caribbean Cup. They drew 1-1 with Guadeloupe. However, the match went to penalty kicks and Jamaica won 5-4 on this occasion. Another proud moment for TAPPA. It was end-to-end football at the spirit of time. However, at the end of the day, Jamaica neutralized the threat that Guadeloupe had throughout the course of the tournament, despite that little lapse in concentration for that goal that the Jamaicans conceded. However, at the end of the day, pressure burst pipe in this and Lamboud from Guadeloupe missed the deciding penalty, and Jamaica won the Caribbean Cup for only the 5th time in their history. Unbelievable scenes. We now heading to number 3. Now, this match, a lot of people don't really remember much. It came in the 2011 CONCACAF Gold Cup, where the Jamaicans beat Honduras 1-0. If I remember, Honduras was not like the lukewarm team that they are today. They were the big bad wolf of Central America. They went to the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. They did well in the Central American qualifiers to get to this tournament, and they were oozing with confidence. And despite conceding a goal to Grenada, they were able to get through with 7-1 victors a few days before. Although coming into this Jamaica clash, many people were saying this was a potential Gold Cup semi-final because of how Jamaica started the tournament, not even conceding a goal. Ryan Johnson, just outside the penalty area, took a shot with his left foot, hit the upright, hit the back of the goalkeeper Noel Valladares, and went into the back of the net, giving Jamaica a 1-0 victory and helping Jamaica to win all their matches in the group stages of a CONCACAF Gold Cup for the first time ever. Reggae Simoes didn't do that, Carl Brown didn't do that, Winfred Schaefer didn't do that. So, Coach Whitmore has that record. The only coach to go through the group stages with 9 points and not even conceding a single goal in the group stages. Quite remarkable, isn't it? That takes us up to number 2, and arguably, well, number 1 is better, but one of the best matches I ever witnessed at the National Stadium. Things were looking bleak in the 2010 World Cup qualifiers. Jamaica had 1 point from 3 games, sitting at the foot of the table. 3 home games, Jamaica needed 3 victories, it was clear about that, but the goal difference was also a matter. Jamaica needed goals as well. However, Many people were saying that Mexico were going to walk away victors on this occasion and knock out Jamaica from World Cup qualifying. However, they did not. The Jamaicans, courtesy through a goal on the quarter of an hour mark through Ricardo Fuller, gave Jamaicans the start that they desperately wanted. The Mexicans were truly neutralized on this occasion. They were not really given much of an opportunity to break. They had one clear-cut opportunity on goal, but Donovan Ricketts made sure that the Mexicans were kept quiet on this occasion. The likes of Carlos Vela, Carlos Salcido, Guardado, players were quiet on this occasion. And the fans really appreciated when Jamal Campbell-Rice showed his skills, nutmegging players, beating them, and really did an opportunity to wind down the clock. And the Jamaicans came out 1-0 victors at the National Stadium in 2008. Can you believe that? 8 years ago. Wow, that was something, I tell you. One of the best matches I ever witnessed at the National Stadium in terms of the result. In terms of the performance now, this is where it gets to number one. Although it was not the most prettiest to watch on the eye, the Americans shot themselves in the foot on this occasion. And that came when we beat the United States for the first time at the senior level in our history. And I'm proud to say I was at the National Stadium when we did that. September 7th, 2012. What a disastrous start it was. Clint Dempsey getting on the score sheet after only 30 seconds. However, 15 minutes later, bam, Rudolph Austin surged the ball right into the back of the net, giving Jamaica that equalizing goal. And you could feel the momentum going. The United States played with two defensive midfielders, and in a match, especially Jamaica where the pitch is much smaller, I don't think necessarily that was needed. Which is why I said they played the game into Jamaican's hands. Jamaica was quite physical on this occasion, and we made use of our set-piece opportunities. And in came Luton Shelton. Blasted in from the free kick, and he really sent the National Stadium into a frenzy. What a wonderful occasion that was. It was that stoppage time. I remember it was 3-4 minutes. Trust me, those were the longest 3 or 4 minutes of my entire life. Everything was just buzzing. The fans ran onto the pitch after the match. It was some sublime scenes at the National Stadium. So basically, that wraps up TAPPA's top 5 moments as head coach of the national team. We do hope that he'll be able to bring more, especially from these 2 games against Suriname and Guyana. We desperately need 2 wins, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to do so with ease. I'm Simon Preston, this is Reggae Boyz Commentary. Don't forget to like our Facebook page, Reggae Boyz Commentary, and don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, Reggae Boyz Commentary.